Hey, it's Lexi. Today I am going to talk to you about my tips and my tricks for traveling. Now some of these might be a bit no-brainer, but these are the things that I think about when I travel and the things that I use to get cheaper flights, all around just have a much better time. So yeah, as I said, you might already know some of these things, but if you didn't, I hope you learned something today. So, tip number 1. Now, I'm not saying don't go and enjoy all the local cuisines that you possibly can. I'm just saying if you're traveling on a budget, you might want to buy some groceries from the local store and store them in your fridge, at your Airbnb, or at the fridge at the hostel, or in your room. Try to get like non-perishable stuffs because, you know, nobody really wants food poisoning, and also if you're on a budget, well, you can't afford to eat out all the time. So, the next tip, which is also kind of a no-brainer, is about water. I would highly suggest never drinking the tap water from where you're going unless like specifically that's part of the experience, just because, again, food poisoning. You don't travel for multiple hours on planes or by road, and then you get to your destination, it's beautiful, you can't wait to get out there, but you can't leave because you can't be too far away from the toilet. And yeah, that's just not cool. So what I usually do is I will take a bottle kind of like this that I refill, and I will go and I will buy the biggest, right? The biggest bottle that I can. And yeah, usually at hotels they already have like filtered or bottled water, and you can just fill your travel bottle up. Anyway, so my next travel tip is about your luggage. Personally, I don't like to travel too heavy. I like to have a small suitcase or a small soft bag that I can basically shove and squash in anywhere. You should always check what your luggage limit is when you fly, just because sometimes they have like specific baggage sizes that you're allowed onto the plane, either in the hold or in the cabin with you. It's obviously more expensive to book hold luggage than it is to take your cabin baggage with you, so that's also something to think about. So yeah, this is my kind of bag, and it is just a simple flip open. So another tip that I can offer is to always check the fuel prices of the places that you're going. Frequently, I travel by car. It's one of my favorite things to do. I love to travel this way because I get to see the way that the landscape, the people, the buildings, and basically everything just changes as I progress along my journey. However, obviously this means that I spend a lot of money on fuel. And how I go about fixing this or making this a bit cheaper for myself is I check beforehand which countries have the cheapest fuel prices, and that is where I fill up. I will wait until the very last moment just before the border crossing in order to fill up, and then I'll drive around in the country with the more expensive fuel, and then I will fill up again once I cross the border into the original country, or vice versa. Basically, that's how I do it. Something else that I would highly recommend doing when traveling is to be flexible. Know which destinations you want to go to, but also don't set your sights on having to go to that place exactly. So what I do is I go on Skyscanner, I type in the airport that I want to be leaving from, and then I will click everywhere, and then cheapest month, and then I will go and I will have a look at the list of places, and if there's something there that I think is cool, and then I will go and check on Instagram and the history about the place, Atlas Obscura, and I will go and I will check all the things there that I want to see and all the things that I think are interesting. I will also try and get in contact with some people who live in those places so that I can better understand what it's like to be a tourist there. Another no-brainer tip is book early. Okay, so for example, if you've researched or seen something on Instagram and you know that this is something you want to do, book it in advance and then check Skyscanner for the flights. Also, don't be afraid to take trains and buses because sometimes these actually are the cheapest ways. When I was in Croatia, I took a bus from Croatia through Serbia back to Bulgaria. And it was pretty cheap and it was actually kind of cool. I met a really nice lady. I got to practice some Italian, which I'm not very good at, but I got to practice it and I actually had a really good time. I'm gonna give you 2 tips in one, they kind of go together. I would really recommend a universal plug. This is just so that no matter where you are, you can always plug in your devices. If there's a power point available at a coffee shop, at your hotel, at your Airbnb, and you really don't have to worry about anything in terms of not being able to charge your phone, your camera, your laptop, whatever it is you've brought with you. The next thing is also a power bank. I have a power bank and I use this quite regularly. Actually, also my gimbal for my phone is also kind of like a power bank. I can also use it as a power bank, which I find pretty cool. And yeah, there's really nothing worse than going out and about, having a good time, and all of a sudden your phone is flat. And also this is the worst when you're in a place where you don't speak the language and you need your phone for Google Translate. Another thing as well, always download the maps beforehand. You never know when you're gonna run out of data. Make sure that you buy a SIM card from the location that you're at so that you can have as much data as you would normally use in a month. That's my recommendation. But always download the map. One of the last tips that I'm going to give you is to always ensure that you have the right documentation with you. For example, I will be flying quite soon, and even though I have been told that a PCR test is not required for one part of the destination, I will still be getting that because there's nothing worse than arriving where you need to be or arriving partway through to your destination, like at a middle point, and all of a sudden they tell you that you need some kind of documentation that you don't have, and boom, there's 200 euros gone. Always make sure that you have the adequate documentation. Another piece of documentation that I always take with me is proof of my age and proof of my institution. I'm a university student, so I qualify for student discounts, which brings the fees of some things down quite a lot, or it even makes some things free. Bonus tip. Always make sure you know how you're getting from your arrival destination to your accommodation. Personally, I have spent a lot of money in this mistake. I have once spent my entire month's rent on a taxi journey trying to get from an airport to my accommodation, and I really still can't believe to this day that I did that. It was shocking. But it was late at night. It was, I think, minus 23 degrees Celsius outside. There was snow everywhere. It was really cold, and I really just wanted to get to where I was going. And sometimes you have to do these things, but if you can avoid it, knowing what I know now, I definitely could have. So what I recommend, download the taxi applications that are available for the country that you're going to, or as I said, contact the local people and get someone to pick you up so that you know how you're going. It is really, really helpful. For example, here in Bulgaria, there's an app called Yellow Taxi, and this is the app that I use to book my taxis when I arrive at the airport to get to a destination where I feel comfortable that I'm not going to get ripped off, where either I can drive myself back home or a friend can come and pick me up. So if you like this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.